A lot of people don't like talking about it, but it's the truth. It's people that keep their own people down. And you wonder why people will talk against other people and their actions or their culture, but it be your own people that keep you down. For an example, how you doing? Welcome in. For an example, you know what I'm saying? One of my favorite Latino actors is Edward James Olmos, right? Uh, this movie, American Me, was one of the greatest classics I think that any Latino community have ever created. And to say that, to say this, right? They basically extorted and made him pay for basically being an actor to tell their story as the La M, the Mexican mafia, right? They messed this man's career up, put fear into his family, extorted money out of him and everything, you know what I'm saying? And people wonder why Latinos are at the position that they are when it comes down to entertainment, right? They wonder why they're that when it's more easier to come over to the black side and get put on through music or film or anything more than it is the Hispanics, right? And let me start using the word Hispanics because the Hispanics are people that ain't descendants of the Latin or the Greek. These are people who came over and did things to the people that was from Greek. That's a Greek Latin, a Roman Latin. The Roman Latins had the people in slavery. But back to the subject, their own people keep them down. See, they love to talk shit about black people, but they'll never talk about how they extorted Edward James Olmos. It's a big picture over here off of Alvarado and Wilshire of Edward James Olmos and another actor. He basically was telling a story about the Mexican mafia. And they extorted him, threatened him, and do all this other shit. Same with this young man right here. Money sign Suede. Now, they try to extort him while he was in prison, like a movie like American Me, right? But he was actually in prison. And they took this young man's life. And I listen to his music every day. Every day I listen to this young man music every day. And I'd be like, damn, his own people. Because they love saying black on blacks and what blacks can't do. But his own people, the Mexican mafia, some basically some guys who ain't tough. You need a group of motherfuckers to do something, right? They took this young man's life all because he wouldn't give them some money in prison. The same thing with this little young man right here, Swifty Blue. They extorted him and tried to take him out. This is their own people, but they don't tell you. They try to act like they better than anybody else, but they do their own people like this. And these are professional people that actually got on. Think about that. These are people that actually got on trying to represent the Latino community or the Hispanic, not our Spanish, but Hispanic. They trying to represent the Hispanic community. And these people would extort them. These people would try to force them to pay something because they too lazy. They are lazy. They don't want to work. When you go to jail as a Latino, you're going to become somebody burrito holder. And that's a part of their culture, but they don't tell you about how the homosexuality inside of the La M is irrelevant. This is what they do. When they out here on the street, they whistle at the transgenders, y'all. But they supposed to be such a hard gang. They supposed to be such a everything, but they will go and extort. This is why they don't get put on. This is why they not put on right now to this day, because they will extort their own people, right? Let's go to this one right here because this to me, this the worst one right here. When you really have this situation, when you got the Respado man, the prostitute, the gang members, you know what I'm saying, and the initiation, right? They want to put you on the gang, they want to put you down or whatever the fuck, right? And they extort this person. They act like, oh yeah, we treat our Raspados mans with decency and all this shit. No, they don't. That man is making very minimum money, and he have to rent that thing if he don't own himself. You know what I'm saying? He rent those, and now the gang's gonna basically make him, pay a due, extort him. They hold their own people down. Then you got the different gangs, that the 13 behind it. If you ain't with the 13 behind it, you know what I'm saying? Basically, you they enemy. So the 13, whatever they have 13 is basically a racist Mexican gang. Anything that have 13 behind it is a racist Mexican gang. So you got like 18th Streets, right? The 18th Street actually is a mixed gang. Had always been a mixed gang. But eventually, when the crack came, it broke up a lot of the Black and Latino gangs. You know what I'm saying? And basically, they pick sides. But if you ain't from the other gang, you're going to get extorted or get jumped on or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Then you got the prostitutes that they have. You know what I mean? Think about this. The prostitute that they have, that they extorted and get money from them too. Think about that. And if they'll do something real worse to them, because if you ever seen some of them videos that the cartel and all them other people used to have and show you, just because the female didn't do what they're supposed to do or whatever, and they be working till they damn near 100 years old, still trying to pay off the cartel. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, they hold their own people down, but they'll love to talk shit about somebody else, right? They'll love to talk shit about somebody else. Then you want to, give a homie love, initiation. No gang member should ever put their hands on another gang member. If you trying to get somebody to be initiated into your shit, why would your homies who care about you put their hands on you? And that's all around the boards. Bloods, Crips, Vice Lord, Disciple. If somebody, Latin Kings, 18th Street, Crazy Riders, whatever the fuck you want to do, the Vato Locos, Tacho Nacos, or whatever the fuck if your friend love you, why would he hurt you? This is the total misconception of gang banging initiation, right? They want to initiate you in the game, but they gonna put their hands on you. They gonna bruise your face up and stuff like that. That ain't a friend. That ain't something I want to be a part of. And if I'm in the community, making the community some type of business, I'm making money, why would you extort me to take money from a prostitute, some rival gang member, or the Respado man? Why would you do that? But like I said in the beginning, when you go over to this right here, right? When you go to this, it just goes to show you, because a lot of people never think about this, but they took out their own man, and they wonder why they ain't doing good in rap. They wonder why they ain't not doing good in hip hop. Because you would take out your own people. You would extort your own people who actually own trying to represent you. This was based on a true story. I love American Me. I love James, Edward James Olmos. He got his first name is my middle name, right? I love this actor. But when I found out that they are actually extorting, you know what I'm saying? They keep their own people down. They keep their own people down. Ain't nobody holding no Latinos down or Mexicans down. They keep their own people down. They think just because the structure you coming in, I don't give a fuck about somebody going to jail and they take care of their own in jail. Well, they going like we know there are favors when you do things like that in jail. There are favors, right? So that process of mind thinking, that prison shit doesn't work. But they would take out this young man right here, and he's actually the image that they, or the representative that they was trying to, extort. This young man right here, man, lost his life in prison because the Hispanic gang members, they hold their own people back. That's why they ain't on. And then the 13, like I said, is the racist part, because it's the Mexican mafia, the La M, right? The same shit with James Edward Almost, then the La M come extort him. Think about that. They extorted their own. That's why you really haven't seen James Edward Almost in no other movies after American Me. Let me say that again. That's why you don't see him in movies no more, because they extorted this man so bad that basically he just gave up acting, representing his own people, right? They talk all that shit about how they together and the Latinos this and Latinos that, but you extorted this man right here. You tried to extort him and it didn't happen, so y'all got mad and you took him out. And then you put a hit on him, Swiftly Blue. Y'all put a hit out on him, and he's still alive, but y'all put a hit out on this man. All because of what? Y'all lazy, don't want to work. You want to extort somebody else's hard work? People come to this country to work hard. They might got like a little hot dog stand, a pupusa stand, and as a gang member, you want to extort them for money. How could y'all sit up here and play like these cats are actually, the Latinos. Latinos are worse than they just like blacks. They hold each other back. This is a prime example. This little boy right here, I listen to his music every day. And it saddens me every day when I got to listen to this young man and know the fact that his own people took him out. Just like Tupac, right? Took out his own people. People took out Tupac. Black people took out Tupac. Didn't no Mexican do it. Just like Nipsey. His own people did it. But when it comes down to Hispanics, y'all want to act like these motherfuckers got the game and running with it. No, they don't. Look at this man right here, a famous actor, Edward James Olmos. Why haven't y'all seen him in no more movies? This movie was great. I think he did one of the most realistic prison movies of my time. And I grew up watching prison movies like Penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? I grew up watching those type of movies. And when I seen American Me, not that I'd never been a prison, nothing, but it was just so realistic to the culture that he was giving and explaining and shit. That it was a well put movie. But his own people extorted him. And this is why we don't see Edward James Olmos in no movies ever. Because the Messicant mafia, I don't give them respect to call him a Mexican, right? A Messicant took him out, not a Mexican, a Messicant. And put you in mind, this young man right here, probably, right now, they glorify him and stuff, and he probably would be one of the main characters or main rappers right now, Latino rappers that's hot right now. But he can't because his own people took him out. Think about that. And like I say, I listen to this young man every day. He a kid to me. And to see that some grown ass losers, the La M, some grown ass losers took this little boy life, and nobody sit up there and act like, the blacks, the browns, they ain't got it together. They don't, because anytime that you got people like this that's putting Latinos on, and you will take them out because you jealous, you lazy, you work black. What do you know what I mean? Like, think about this. Somebody lazy in prison wanted him to pay money to be in prison. Think about that. Instead of protecting him, you got a bunch of dudes. His name is Money Sign Sway. His name is Money Sign Sway. The lot MA took him out. Just like they took him out of the movies, even though he's still alive. This little boy right here, they put a hit out on him because he wouldn't do what he was supposed to do. So to your contrary to belief, a lot of people will sit there and talking about, oh, why don't we act like the Latino? Why we don't act like the Browns? They fuck up their own people. They fuck up their own people. For instance, right? For instance, let's go here. These people right here, they will extort their own people. They extort their own people, man. The Raspado man. He will stand out there in that heat all day, shaving ice and fruit and shit to be able he got corn, right? He got corn, he got the ice, you know what I'm saying? He might got the little chips. And then you mean to tell me some lazy ass gang member that's sitting around that's not even giving them protection, don't even do shit for the community, don't even put back in the community. You mean to tell me he got to pay him taxes because the gangs is over here? You see what I'm saying? The prostitute, she's laying on her back all day. She got to give the gang member some money too. And what does the gang member do for the neighborhood? Like right now, MacArthur Park, none of the gang members, the Crazy Riders, MS-13s, the 18th Streets, all the different branches of the 18th. You mean to tell me y'all can't fix this shit over here? You can't fix this shit. You taxing the people for working on the street. You try to recruit and gang member initiation and shit. You got rival gang members that you want to keep out of the neighborhood. You want to tax the prostitute, but you can't even keep them safe. You can't keep them from being locked up. What kind of shit is that? And I'm so serious. What kind of shit is that? What kind of shit is that? Soft-siders. Soft-siders. That's what I call them. They soft-siders. Because anytime that you try to use shit like this to extort people, you know what I'm saying? You won't get off your ass and get a job, right? You won't get off your ass and get a job. You'll sit there and, try to extort somebody that's working hard or have a better hustle than you and then, take them out, such as this young man right here. Money Sign Sway was a young man who was a rapper. There's one that Ice killed in Houston. I grew up with Mexicans. And they grimy too. Yeah, that's my point. Because everybody try to sit there and try to act like, the Latinos got the game and no. Majority of times when they be living with each other, they forcing somebody to do something. When they living all in them houses and shit together like that, them are people that making cartel runs in America. And they only there for 2 weeks and go back or whatever the fuck, because they basically was some type of coyote that brings some shit across the border. You see what I'm saying? Here, you know what I'm saying? This situation, all I'm just doing exposing, because this is a prime example. They never talk about it. But the truth about that, Edward James Olmos, they extorted him, right? And he left Hollywood basically. They just extorted him dry. This right here, Money Sign Sway, took that boy life because he didn't want to give him no money. The Messicant mafia, right? Then this boy Swifted Blue, they tried to, they sent them at him. And they didn't succeed. But this is the bullshit. They keep their own people down. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Think about it. They keep their own people down. Ain't nobody keeping them down. Ain't no white man keeping them down, just like they would say with us. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody keeping a black man down. You can get up and do what you need to do. But as soon as somebody get up, you got the crab in a barrel syndrome. And it's all over. Today, I'm just exposing the shit because they'll sit there and try to tell you or let the narrative believe that the Mexicans got it together. No, they don't. If that's the case, why this young man right here is not alive? And the most hurtful thing to see is see somebody's mother in pain, right? And just for instance, you know, a lot of these Latinas, right? They got the little hood that said mi barrio. This is mi barrio, la raza, and all that shit, right? But they'll take out your boy, they'll take out your kids. Now you gotta accept that shit. And that's what I see in her face. That a mother is hurting because her son was taken out by her own people. Her own people, because they wanted her son to pay some money because he's a rapper. He's rapping like black people. So now you wanna, you broke ass motherfuckers wanna extort a little boy who's in prison, who's trying to make a life and trying to get his life together. He was still young and making bad decisions, but he was learning better. He had some type of morals, and the morals that he had was not letting y'all bully him. That's what it is. So when you look at the Mexican mafia, it ain't nothing but some racist homosexuals. Let me say that again. They ain't nothing but some racist homosexuals. They love boys. They love boys. And just because this one stood up and didn't let y'all punk him, y'all took him out. Y'all got away with extorting Edward James almost where he just basically left Hollywood. He left Hollywood because he can't even tell his historical history about his people here in America. That's why it was called American Me. This is some shit that was here already, right? That they did here. It didn't come over from Mexico. This didn't say Mexico Me. It said American Me. Majority of these kids, like these little boys right here, they might call themselves Messicant, right? You might call themselves Messicant. But the truth is they was born in America. They was born here. So how the fuck are you a Messicant if you was born in America? I say that again because it don't make sense. Because the mindset how he lost his life, they want to play like they from Mexico. But motherfuckers, you from America. Some of these motherfuckers 7, 8, 9, 10 generations deep inside of America. Never been over to Mexico, don't even know how to speak the language. Let me say that again. The same Mexicans over here speaking Spanish do not know how to speak Mexican or the type of Spanish that they speak in Mexico. And that's real talk. A lot of them don't even, the Mexicans don't like these Mexicans over here. They don't like them. They don't even get along. They already know he's from over that border. Them ain't us. That whole concept of the mind of drugs and shit like that, the Mexican don't be on no shit like that. You don't have no drug addicts running around the streets in Mexico begging, living on the streets, encampments. None of that shit. You don't have that shit over there. What you have over there is the cartel. And when you mess up, they gonna correct you. So this Mexican mafia shit, which is basically, like I said, racist gang members. Racist homosexual gang members. Let me say it again. Racist homosexual gang members. The first thing that they do, like I said, when you go to this, they start giving you stuff. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you come in, that's the trick. Yeah, man, here go a little care package, this and that, yeah. But when they need a favor, they need you to go do something. They need you to bend over. They expect you to do it because they gave you something, right? That's the whole thing in jail. But it's more common for them to go along with it because they already know. I'd rather go ahead and do a favor than lose my life. This young man right here, he stood on business. Nigga, I ain't giving you shit. You see what I'm saying? This young man right here, and I applaud him. even though it took his life, man. They took his life, but I applaud him for not allowing some cowards, some boy lovers, right? Some coward boy lovers who basically try to extort him. This man right here, Edward James, almost my favorite Latino actor ever. And it was based on 2, 3 movies that I seen, but after this one, he did so much of a great job, right? And it just landed like, man, that's the best Latino actor I ever, man, fuck that. That's my man right there, Edward James Almost. We got the same name, Edward. You know what I'm saying? So he was one of my favorite actors, but he was being extorted by La M because he made this movie, American Me, about the Mexican mafia. La M. Huh? And they extorted him. What y'all wonder? See, I'm old enough. I'm old enough to remember who this man is. I'm old enough to remember when this movie came out. But Swifty Blue, who still is alive, tells the story of how the Messicant mafia, not Mexican, but mess, M-E-S-S, Messicant, a bunch of shit, a mess all balled up, a Messicant. you understand what I'm saying? How the Mexicans try to extort him and send them people at him. You see what I'm saying? And that's sad. Anything with a 13 behind it is a racist gang. You know what I'm saying? They went off with the... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They basically extorted him because he made this movie, and it was so factual because it shows that, you know, they were homosexuals. They were homosexuals. That's the part of their culture. When we look at the Spaniards, when they came over and did what they did, that's a part of their culture. When you look at a quinceañera, when you know what a quinceañera really is, or you know, bringing that little 15-year-old girl into womanhood by the uncle or the father, that's some cold shit, my nigga. But we want to act like they got it together. We'll sit up there, oh man, why can't we be like the Mexicans? Why we can't be? I don't want to be like no Mexican. I do not want to be like a Mexican. I already know the culture. When you learn the culture, you don't want to be a part of that shit. You know what I'm saying? You do not want to be a part of that, because this shit right here, the little money sign Suede guy, he lost his life because he didn't want to be bullied. He lost his life, and he almost lost his life. Swifty Blue, he's still around, but they came after him. You know, but we will sit there and act like, oh, the Mexicans got it together. No, they don't. They fucked up just like us. The reason why the Mexicans ain't on no hip hop or no shit like that, that reason right there. That reason right there. You see it? This young man, I listen to his music every day. I see videos, I see his face, I see his mother every day on these little videos and shit, right? I see people doing paintings for his mother and the pain that she had, that she lost a son behind some lie MA, their own people. Their own people did it. Because we act like, oh, they stick together. How the fuck they stick together and this shit right here happened? Right? How they stick together and they extort their own fucking Raspado man, elote man, right? You got a man that sell corn. How do you extort this man right here? How do you do that? This man is supposed to be working honest, right? He's working honest, and the gang members want to come in and extort him. The prostitute, she working hard. She taking all type of, D's everywhere. She doing it till she around about 100 years old. That's how the majority of them be looking to, y'all. When you be seeing they highness, they highness be like that. But truthfully, you know what I'm saying? Think about what I'm saying, y'all. Think about what I'm saying. You got a guy that's working hard. Out there selling elotes, they selling goddamn me Rispados, they got fucking chips. And here comes some gang member, right? Some soft siders, some soft ass homosexual guys coming to take a percentage of your hard earning money. You out there standing in the sun, and all of a sudden, here comes some little zero head looking motherfucker telling you, hey, you got to pay rent. You got to pay rent. Or you got the motherfuckers want to initiate you into their game, right? They want to initiate you into their game, which is, like I said, a group of men. Gang members ain't nothing but homosexual, cowards, and boys, right? A gang member or gangs ain't nothing consist of but boys, cowards, and homosexuals. So when you go to the story American Me, and the first thing that they did to James Edward Olmos when he went to prison, what did they do? Somebody took him. Somebody took James Edward Olmos when he went in to the juvenile system, right? So that lets you know they culture already. And what's the deal? Give me, I want some chung chung. I want some chung chung. Y'all remember that part in American Me? Give me that chung chung. You know what I mean? So they wanted some chung chung from Money Sign Suede, right? They wanted to extort him, and they wanted some chung chung from Money Sign Suede. And Money Sign Suede stood on business. His own people took him out. It wasn't a black man. It wasn't a white man. It wasn't ICE. It was La M.A., the Messicant mafia, the racist Mexican mafia, who are boy lovers, cowards, and boys. They mind is like a boy. Ain't none of them men. Even in this movie, American Me, he tell you when he got out, he still thought like, the woman say, you still think like a boy. You still think like a kid. Somebody that's been locked up all their life ain't grown up to learn how to be a man out here on the streets. And that's what it was exposing. That the Mexican gang member, who basically is still a boy as a grown man, deal in homosexuality, and he really is afraid. He a coward. So he got to have all these other people to do shit for him. So as a black person, I never wanted to be like a Mexican. Everybody's like, why can't we be like, fuck being like them? Do you know what goes on in the household? To the little girls, to the women? Do you know that little girl been pregnant ever since she was 12? Constantly got this motherfucking belly, fat. She ain't lived a life of nothing. All she knows is raising these kids, and all he doing is being a coward. And when he get old and tired enough, when he gonna go off and use drugs or fall off some type of way, and she gonna be still left with the kid. The Mexicans don't have their daddy at the house either. And if he do, he's some type of addict. He's some type of pedo. He touching on the hyenas. He touching on Mija. See, they don't want to talk about that shit because we looking on the outside looking in, but I'm giving you a look on the inside. This young man right here, who would basically had the Mexicans on for his rap. You wonder why the Mexican ain't doing good in rap. He was doing great in rap, but they extorted him. They tried to, and he stood on business. The young man stood on business, and they took his life, but he stood on business. But it shows how cowardly that the La M.A. really is. It shows the homosexuality that the La M.A. is. Swifty Blue still alive. They came at him. All because they want to extort him. They hold their own people down. That's why they're not going nowhere. Cypress Hill. Look at Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill was a blood. Be Real was a blood. He wasn't from no South Side gang, no soft sides. He wasn't from a soft side. No, he was a blood. And even because they were like, man, when the essay started using the word nigga, I can tell you when. Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill was able to use that word with no motherfucking problems. Now, him and Cube had a beef. You know what I'm saying? But Cypress Hill, you see where they went. So at the end of the day, when I'm just trying to show y'all, man, your own people keep you down. Your own people will take you out, just like Nipsey. His own people took him out. Right? Look at Tupac. His own people took him out. And you can look at me. My own people try to take me out. You see what I'm saying? So don't be trying to differentiate because honestly, it is what it is. Yeah, the uncle look at him too because of the quinceañera. The quinceañera basically is to bring the 15-year-old little girl into womanhood. And who does that? The uncle or the father. The uncle or the father breaks the little girl cherry to bring her into womanhood. And that's the culture of the quinceañera. They don't talk about that. You see what I'm saying? Y'all talking about y'all want to be like Mexicans. Are you sure you want to be like the Mexicans? You sure that you want your daddy coming in your room on your 15th birthday? You sure you want that? You sure you want your uncle? Because we complain about that. It's traumatizing, you know. But that's the truth to it. Like I said, man, I listen to this young man every day, man, and it saddens me that I see the pain in his mother's eyes. I see the intent that the young man was still going through. Because kids go through things, right? They still got to learn. They bump their heads. And you just got to be there to show them the example of what it's supposed to be. You got to be the one to tell them, hey, see, I told you, this is what happened when you do this and do that. And hopefully they learn from that. But when you got some grown boy in prison who love other boys' genitalia, and he gonna try to come and extort this young man because they think because we got numbers, we big and bad, we got the 13, we like M.A. You took this man's career away from him to the point where he doesn't even want to be in Hollywood no more. Think about that. You extorted your own fucking great actor to not be able to act anymore. And Swifty Blue, he's an upcoming or was an upcoming type of rapper, but you try to do things like that to stop him? Come on, man. That ain't something good. That's the worst shit that you can ever do to your own people, be a crab in a barrel. And that's what La M.A. has done to the Mexican culture. You have crippled the Mexican culture with being a coward, being a homosexual, being a boy mindset. That you think that you tough and you bad and you're going to force somebody to do something. That's what boys do. You scared. You a coward. You don't want to be a real man and grow up and have to take care of responsibilities. So you put it on other people. Like the Raspado man, the prostitute, the opposite gang. You know what I'm saying? The opposite, the ops. That's what they call them, right? The ops. You wanna make your ops pay your bills. You want to make the prostitute who's trying to pay her bills pay your bills. You want to recruit and gang initiation and to bring somebody else so you can not be so afraid. That's what it is. You're a coward. You're a coward. Anytime you got to run around in gangs and trying to force people to pay taxes because your lazy ass don't want to get up and work, you're a coward, man. You're a coward. And I'm calling y'all out on that shit. Ain't nothing in the gang but homosexuals, boys, and cowards. You can put it any way you want it. Cowards, boys, homosexual, whatever, which way you want to turn it. That's the three things in there. And look what they did to only a coward would do this. Only a coward would extort somebody from Hollywood, right? Edward James, you would extort a man who's basically trying to bring pride to your culture, to bring awareness to what's going on and the type of lifestyle. And you extorted him because he told the truth. Oh, you told too much of our business. You told secrets. Secrets that y'all homosexuals? Man, we already knew that. The Spaniards, we know what the Spaniards did to you. That's why y'all the way y'all are. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the Puerto Rican, you look at the Dominican, you look at the not so much the Cuban, right? Not so much the Cuban. You don't have too many of those Cuban doing that shit, but Brazil and all those type of places, Honduras and shit, Guatemala. You got a lot of tinky winky going on. You got a lot of tinky teletubby shit going on. You understand what I'm saying? So much where if you come over here to the park and sit in the park, you will see these so-called gang members whistling at the transgender. Yeah. See, that's a part that they ain't want to expose because their culture from that Spaniard stuff has always been that, because that's what the Spaniards came and did. The Spaniards came and did them like that. So it's more acceptable in the Latino community, right? That the homosexuality is more acceptable. You go down to Mexico, they are allowed to work, right? So you can't call them out of their name. You just got to tell them, hey, no, I want a real girl. You know what I'm saying? No, that's all right. I'm cool. Never mind. You got to turn them down nicely, because if they feel like, they being disrespected, you actually can go to jail for basically disrespecting them because they allowed to work. But most Latinos, they will sit up with a transgender as if it's a woman, and they will go lay with a transgender as if it's a woman and don't think that it's nothing other than that. You see what I'm saying? And that's their culture. And Edward James almost exposed that chun chun. they like that chun chun. Chun chun. Give me that chun chun. Dame chun chun. So at the end of the day, man, like I said, man, I sit and listen to this young man and it saddens me all the time. I try to enjoy his music or whatever, even though he's a little kid to me. He's a baby. You know what I'm saying? He's a baby to me. And I know that he's somebody else's child. But the these so-called hard Messicans, these so-called Messicants, that's what I call them, Messicants. Okay? They Messicants. Because first of all, you weren't even born in Mexico. That's the crazy thing about it. You weren't even born in Mexico. How the fuck you gonna call yourself a Mexican? But the concept of them fucking us over, calling us African American, or reclassifying us as African American or Negroes or whatever the fuck they did, right? With that being said, they jumped on the bandwagon calling themselves Mexican Americans, even though they weren't even born in Mexico. But they put that African American shit on us to basically try to, deny us the rights that we're supposed to have in this country. And since Donald Trump wasn't allowed to take the birthright citizenship, we can go to court and fight for our indigenous rights. Because every black, dark-skinned person that's in this country isn't from Africa. That's the bullshit that they did. That's the illegal shit that they did. Every dark-skinned, English-talking person is not from Africa. Contrary to your belief, they hear from America. My people ain't never came across no motherfucking boats. You see what I'm saying? But they will tell you that because you're dark-skinned and you didn't know no better and you're a child. But when you get old enough and you learn how to read for yourself, just like that damn homosexual book they call the Bible, once you start reading about that shit for yourself, you see that Jesus was a child trafficker, right? He was actually having, the disciples was kids, and he was arrested for child trafficking. He was laying with one of those boys. He was arrested for it, and he got convicted for it because according to King James, right, the KJV of Leviticus 20:13, no man should ever lay with another man like a woman. And this is a part of the la'ime. The la'ime lay with men like they lay with women. So that's a sin. And the same sin that Jesus sinned and got in trouble for is what these Mexicans are doing daily. Jesus was caught with a little boy laying in the nude. They arrested him. Judas kissed him in the mouth to prove that that's the type of lifestyle that this rabbi was doing. How am I lying when I got it's in the Bible? How am I lying, supernova? How am I lying when Jesus got caught? Why did they crucify Jesus? Because he was out there with little boys like the la'ime. He was out there with little boys. They caught his ass. If you telling me I'm a liar, prove that I'm not. Because I can show you. Watch this. What? If I'm lying, boom. If I'm lying, what's that little boy right there? You see that little boy? You see that little boy? There go Jesus right there getting kissed by Judas in the mouth. But I'm a lie. But I'm a lie. But I'm a lie. But I'm a lie. Oh, okay. See, that's how you got to hit them, y'all. You got to hit them because you got characters that will come on and show me that shit, right? I just showed you just the print. Show me the book and the verse. Which verse you want? Do you want the scripture of God saying that this is against the law? Because that's Leviticus 20:13. No man should ever lay with another man like a woman. If so, it's called abomination and it's called for death, right? Unlivement, right? Right? So now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about when Peter looked back and seen the disciple whom Jesus loved laying on his chest, asking him who's going to betray him. Ooh, damn, that's Peter 21:20. Damn, let's go to Mark when they arrested Jesus. The picture I just showed you, right? The picture I just showed you. This is Mark 14, right? Mark 14:51-52. And when they seized Jesus, when they seized them, a little boy ran off in the nude, right? A little boy ran off. Why was the same boy Jesus allowed laying on his chest, Peter protect with a sword, took a nigga ear off for this, right? Why was he laying in the nude? And when you read the Greek text, which created this whole Christianity thing, it was a gauze around the little boy phallus. He ran off with only a gauze around his phallus. Jesus did that. Yeah, Jesus did that. Dang, that's right. Yeah. So now let's go to the cross when Jesus was getting convicted and got convicted. He got punished, but this is the conviction when they crucified him, because according to Leviticus, no man should ever do that because it's an abomination. And if so, unalivement. So now, now John 19:25-27, at the cross was Mary Magdalene, Mary the auntie, and Mary the mother. 3 Hail Marys. And when Jesus saw the disciple whom he loved, the same motherfucker that was laying on his chest, the same motherfucker Peter saw, the same motherfucker that ran off with nothing but a damn gauze around his penis. Yeah, when he saw the disciple, he appointed him as the widow to take care of his mother. Woo! Yeah, because Jesus was the child molester. He was the child trafficker. Notice he kept on calling people his kids. He called the disciples his kids because they were kids. Because they were kids. So when we know that, We got to get people a supernova. You over. Now you go read your book somewhere. I just gave you the whole game to that. I just gave the whole game to that. So like I was talking about earlier today, La M and their culture, because we got to think about it. We talking about Roman Catholics, the same motherfuckers with this Greek shit, right? The same people, the Greeks, the Roman Greek Latins. This is the culture of the Christianities. This is the culture of the Christians. Pedophilia. God did what to Mary? How old was Mary? Wasn't she married? Mary was 12 to 14 years old, and she was married to Joseph. And he came down and impregnated this woman. He chose Mary over a woman named Elizabeth, who was older. This is where they get that shit talking about bury your fruit in a fresh womb. The same God that unlived babies, the same God ordained pedophilia on children, on the little girls. The same God. This is their culture. And somebody ignorant who don't know this will sit up there and defend Christianity. They would defend Catholic Church. They would defend any of that bullshit because they don't know. They ignorant. But Jesus was arrested and convicted for hurting little children. That's what Jesus, he didn't die for your sins. He died because he was out there with little children in the woods. And he got busted. See, the ignorant person that don't know that, they go to church. They praise somebody that abused them. Most people with Stockholm syndrome love thy master. What they call that, Ephesians 6:5, slave, obey thy earthly master cold-hearted as if it was Jesus Christ himself. This is from a slave master telling your slave ass to obey the person that's abusing you. This is why people go to church and praise Jesus, because he's an abuser. You got the fear of God. That's what they tell you. Put the fear of God in them, right? I want a God-fearing man. Well, what kind of man that you really want that can't take care of you or protect you? What woman really want a man that can't provide or protect them? Jesus have not provided shit, took away the babies, letting the babies go, letting the mamas go. Jesus ain't protect shit. God ain't protect shit. But only a damn fool will worship some shit like that. A pretty damn fool. Instead of reading that book yourself and seeing how demonic Jesus and God really was. Them fucking demons. Jesus was playing with children and got arrested for it. But you'll sit up there and worship and give your money and believe in some dumbass shit and nothing never happened but badness. The Lord gonna make a way. And this is how they get over on your ass. The lie MA will use that type of same tactic to make you pay dues, pay tithes. That's what the church do. Make you pay tithes, don't it? And you think that you're gonna get a place in heaven, that you then came down here, spent some money with a criminal that you might call a pastor or a reverend. You put money inside of somebody else's household and thinking that you're going to get a house when you die. For real? That's how you can have some shit called Lot MA, and they extorting people, the weak. Church extort the weak. They put fear into you. That the same bad God who destroyed the world, who took lives of babies, animals, birds, and gods, knowing that there was other gods. He's a jealous God. You mean to tell me your God is so fucked up that he got emotions? He's a jealous God. He don't want you to worship nobody else. But there are hella gods. There are other gods. He knows that there are other gods. Y'all even said the Most High. Well, that means that it's other gods. Y'all trying to say that God is over he's only the God of the Hebrews. Everybody ain't a motherfucking Hebrew. So how the fuck is he the Most High? How he's the Most High? Everybody ain't no motherfucking Hebrew. Everybody ain't no damn Israelite. So how the fuck he's higher than any other God? That's that fear. That's that homosexuality. That's that male chauvinist shit. So at the end of the day, like I said, they took out their own people. Why would you want to be like a Mexican and when they out there extorting their own people? A motherfucker selling corn and snow cones and shit like that. You taking money from that person and rent high as a motherfucker here in Los Angeles. Why would you extort the little man that's got a little hustle for himself, that's trying to do something in the community, and y'all don't put none of that money back in the community? I don't never see no Mexican goddamn me carnivals. I don't never see no Mexican backpack giveaways to the community. Now I see Dodger stadiums and shit like that doing it, but I don't see the gang members doing shit. So why would you pay the gang members and the police coming up and take your shit? The gang members supposed to protect you from all that. The other gang members, the police, the store owners and all that shit, they supposed to, where's the protection? And when you go to jail, they wanted this little boy to pay for protection. And when no blacks gonna do nothing to him. When no white people gonna do nothing to him. His own people took him out because he wouldn't pay. They try to take out Swifty Blue because why? He didn't want to pay. So they sent people at him to try to take him out. Edward James almost paid, but you know what? He also paid to basically get out of Hollywood, right? He just got out of Hollywood. One of the famous, greatest actors ever, Edward James Olmos, American Me. He told the truth about the gang life of the Latinos in prison and out. And they got mad because he exposed them. He told too many secrets. Yeah, that y'all like boys. That was the biggest secret, that y'all was boy lovers. We already knew that as black people, that's what y'all did. We already knew it. All that old slick back hair type of shit and all that. We already knew it. We already fucking knew it. Okay? We already, the little dancing and shit, y'all, we already knew it was some tinky winky in your blood. But since it exposed to the world that really all gangs have boys, cowards, and homosexuals in it. And once you get to jail, the movie American Me, not Mexico Me, not Mexican Me, but American Me, the ones that grew up in this country, who was born in this country that is not a Mexican, but American, who derived from over that type of culture across the border, that they was into that tinky winky shit and didn't want to be exposed. They want to act like men still, but we already know y'all stick y'all burritos in tiny holes. Y'all love sticking y'all burritos in cesspools. You know what I'm saying? We know that. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, I just really came on here just to fuck with everybody. But I have been feeling a certain type of way because I have no choice but to see this young man every day. And it saddens me to see that this young man lost his life because of some cowards. Purity cowards. You mad because he wouldn't give you no money. Which y'all niggas didn't, you came all the way over here. You ain't got a GED, so you can't work in the kitchen in the prisons, right? If you ain't got a GED, you can't work in the prisons. So a lot of y'all motherfuckers don't come over here try to learn no English, no nothing, so you don't learn how to do the work over here, so therefore you can't work. So now you got to get a person like this who worked hard. Shit, he got so many of them motherfucking songs. Shit. Shit. So many of them motherfuckers. Just go look up, goddamn Money Sign Suede. He got a lot of them, man. His name is Money Sign Suede. Go listen. He a young little, he a little kid to me. I'm 51 years old. This little dude, a little bit older than my son, maybe. You know what I'm saying? My youngest son. And they took his life, man. They took his life all because they was cowards. Then you got Swifty Blue. Swifty Blue, he's a rapper too. You know what I'm saying? And you wonder why the Mexicans ain't on when it comes down to hip hop. This is why. Don't you, Mr. Slasher Texas? I'm not, bruh. Easy. Go look it up for yourself, player. Go look it up for yourself. Like I said, I'm 51 years old. I don't look at no names. I listen to the songs. He got a lot of songs. He got a lot of songs. It's just he got a lot of collabos with different people. These little up and coming little dudes. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it's all, like cartel type of music. Let's just say that. You know what I'm saying? It's that cartel type of music, whatever, the lean and the perkies and all that shit. That's the type of music you do. So I couldn't tell you the name of the song. You know what I'm saying? Well, Mrs., go look it up for yourself. Stop being fucking lazy. It's early in the morning. I'm not finna name a fucking song. Go look that shit up for yourself. I'm up here talking. I'm too damn old to be picking it up. Thank you. That's all you got to do. Now you can post it. You can go post it. His name is Money Sign Sway. The other dude is Swifty Blue. This dude right here, Edward James Almost. I'm not a DJ. I'm a person that's talking. And again, this young man, I listen to his songs every day. Now, I don't go on YouTube to go pick a song to listen to. It's where I'm at that I listen to his songs every day. Okay? So, like I said, I listen to this young man every day. I don't go look up the song to listen to. Where I'm at, I hear and see his face every day, all day. Every day, all day. I got you. I got you. It's good. It ain't no harm done. I'm not mad. I don't get mad. It's just a conversation. But like I'm saying, every day I listen. I see. Right? I see. I don't go to the computer and like to YouTube or something like that and look them up to go listen to his songs. That ain't what I do. Where I'm at, it has a lot of people who love him. Matter of fact, people come all over the country to take a picture of where I'm at to see his face. They do rap videos in front of the mirror, right? So I'm seeing this every day, and this is why I'm talking about this. I'm not talking because he's a rapper or I listen to his music and I love his music. I can't even really relate to his music because it's talking about things that I don't do. But to see the people who loved him, who love his music, and he being taken out by his own people, just like Nipsey was taken out by his own people. Tupac was taken away by his own people. I was almost taken away by my own people. I'm bringing awareness to the culture that other people that think that Latinos got it down pat. I'm here showing you that Latinos is just in the same boat as black people because they were unalive or they would extort the people who's trying to make a good name for the culture. You see what I'm saying? That's my plight. My plight is to pinpoint the ignorance that one starts inside your own communities. That starts in your own community. If you can extort the Raspado man, the gang member, the prostitutes, and then try to, bring in other gang members for as initiation, this is what I'm talking about. It's not so much about rap. It's not about listening to the music. It's about seeing the culture for what it really is. You got to see the abusers, how the abusers have done us, put fear into us off of their type of ideology. You see what I'm saying? We got people out here that love to lay with boys and they call themselves Christians, Baptists, 7-day Adventists, Muslims, and all this other shit. They try to call themselves holy, but put fear into you by using you to damage you. And this is what I'm exposing today. I don't care about a rap song. What I care about is telling the truth that we don't see, that's behind the closed doors, to the point where they would actually try to, take your life. Try to take your life, a soft-siders. A soft-sided person will try to take your life because it ain't shit in his own life. You see what I'm saying? Because he ain't shit in his own life, that he will go out there and try to extort. He will go out there and try to harm and put fear sexually into somebody to get money out of him. Now that's what I call a lazy motherfucker. You see what I'm saying? Anytime somebody sit there and use fear and trying to, demand you, right? Demand you. Somebody try to demand you to pay them money. You see what I'm saying? And this little young man right here lost his life because he wasn't going for the bullshit. And again, like I said, the only thing that's in gangs are boys, cowards, and homosexuals. And when it comes down to the MA, the Mexican mafia, Edward James almost exposed that in the movie American Meat, and they extorted him for telling the truth. They said he gave up too many secrets. What's the secrets? What's the secret? That you lay with boys? That was the only secret. That was the only secret, because everything else we already know. But to know that that's how they want that choom choom, you want that choom choom, that's a favor. I done gave you some zoom zooms and some wham whams. I want some choom choom. And needless to say, I ain't never been to prison. And I'm glad that I was able to learn from my dumbass mistakes. Now, I was willing and still is. If it's worth it, meaning my kids, my family, myself, if I got to defend that and that's where I might have to go, I am content. I am content, but I ain't never sat there and felt that I need some homie love, that I need to go around a group of men and lay down for all them damn years. Something wrong with you. You still a boy. You still a boy. That's why I said in the game, they're on boys, cowards, and homosexuals. You're a boy because you done made decisions and you just didn't know, you was ignorant. You're a coward because you need gang members and everybody else to do some type of business. And homosexual, you would do favors for cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? You would do it from some spread. Commissary. You would do anything for it because you've been around it. So when we look at the whole Latino MA, it ain't nothing but a male chauvinist gay gang. Just like the disciples in Jesus. It wasn't nothing but a gay gang. And Jesus got arrested for it, and he got punished, and he got, unalive for doing that type of shit. This is why they got that motherfucker tattooed on them so motherfucking much. Because Jesus was in a gay gang too. And I just showed y'all. I just showed you Jesus' arrest. See, y'all never saw that picture. Y'all read over it, or y'all pastors didn't read that part that Jesus was out there getting arrested for child trafficking. But like I said, I always gotta tell the truth. I gotta tell the truth. And I made somebody in here because they was like, "Oh, you lying, you lying." I just showed them to them, right? And I don't know who else was on here that was laughing with me, laughing about that situation, because it's easy to call somebody a liar. But when a person prove it to you and show you that it's in the Bible and it got the verses and all that shit, and you don't say nothing, where's that same fucking energy you just called me a liar and to apologize with? So this is the culture. This is what it is. At the end of the day, y'all, man, I hope y'all have a great day. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. You didn't learn something today. Now go evolve. Unlearn some shit to re-educate yourself. Take some of that bullshit out that you already had in your mind, and now just change your whole fucking concept of some shit. Look at it now. Look at it from this perspective. You wonder why we ain't like them. You wonder why we don't do shit like that. Because only a coward, a boy, and a homosexual will try to intimidate you, to extort you out of your hard-earning money, and then gonna try to put fear to think that that's gonna be the main power. Fuck all that shit. Fuck all of that. Real men stand up on their own 2 feet. Only cowards depend on a 13. A fucking racist 13. 13 what? That makes the final gay man? Jesus was the 13th. Jesus was the 13th, right? So it's 12 disciples, right? And Jesus make 13. And if we know that this is a pedophile child group, what the fuck does that make y'all?